Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining us today on our New Year, New Sustainable You webinar. We're going to be going through 10 steps, 10 resolutions, if you will, to have a more sustainable year and a greener path for 2024. My name is Amy Densborn. I'm the Outreach Administrator for SWACO. I've been with SWACO for just about 6 years now, and I'm really tasked with educating the public on waste reduction practices, the importance of recycling right, and safe disposal at our landfill. So let's go ahead and get started. For those of you who are new to the GoToWebinar platform, everyone is on mute throughout the duration of today's session, but I will be accepting everyone's questions at the end of today's presentation. So please keep your eyes out for that question mark icon that's on your control panel. Click on that control panel to click on the question mark in the control panel to type in any of your questions today. Again, and I'll be going over all of those at the end of today's session. And then there is one handout today. It's from the slides that I'm sharing today. The handouts looks like a little paper icon. Click on that and then double click on the handouts if you want to download them. If for any reason you're having an issue accessing the handouts, don't worry about it. Email me afterwards and I will be happy to send it your way. No problem. So for those of you who are maybe new to SWACO, you're just now becoming familiar with what we do. We are the Solid Waste Authority of Central Ohio. So we're a solid waste district that's tasked with reducing our reliance on the landfill. We're a government entity, and that's very unique in the sense that we own and operate a landfill. That's very unique. Most solid waste districts do not have the luxury of owning a landfill. So we see the potential of all the material in our landfill that doesn't really belong there. And it's our job to create services and programs that seek to recover that material. So a list is some pictures on this slide or some of the programs that we offer to Franklin County communities and businesses. Everything from a public drop-off program for recyclables to grant funding for communities, nonprofits, schools to help them reduce their waste, recycle more. We offer recycling equipment for event organizers. We help subsidize the yard waste program for Franklin County. And then we're always looking for new partners for hard to recycle materials like electronic waste, pharmaceutical waste, and we also operate a hazardous waste facility. I'm going to go into a little bit more about some of those programs today, but I encourage you to check out swaco.org if you're interested in learning more. So the reason why you're here today is you're hoping to learn more about some of the actionable steps that you can take to have a more sustainable, more sustainable lifestyle. And I'm here to say that you don't have to be completely zero waste to make an impact. It can be very overwhelming to get into the realm of sustainability and to feel like you're not doing enough or you have eco guilt. And I'm not here to guilt anyone. Okay, I'm here just to provide some potential learnings, some potential ideas to get you brainstorming on the steps that you can take, you and your family, because it's probably a journey that the whole family has to take together to create less waste. Okay, and it is a journey. Okay, it's not going to happen overnight, and I don't want you to it's like with anything else. It's like with, trying to move more, eat better. It's about the small baby steps, right? It's not about a complete overhaul of your entire lifestyle. So I have a friend who she has this mantra, and I just think it's so perfect. She always says progress, not perfection. And I can't get that out of my head because that's really what I try to maintain in my life on all aspects. Not just sustainability, that it's not about perfection. It's about doing the best you can. And you really don't have to be zero waste to make a positive impact on the environment. So I'm walking through 10 steps today that I think are doable, approachable, feasible. Don't worry about doing all 10. Pick one or two, try to stick with them. And then as the time goes on, maybe you pick up another one or two. And this is really all related to waste diversion. There is a lot of sustainable green practices out there pertaining to transportation, pertaining to energy conservation. SWACO is really focused on waste diversion. So that's what we're going to be focusing on today, because I want you to keep in mind there is no such thing as a way. A way is a way for you. It's away from your house. It's away from maybe your community. But the away is in Grove City. It's a landfill. That is one of the top 25 largest landfills in the United States. And that landfill is never going to go away. So keep that in the back of the mind as we go through this today. All right, number one recommendation to you. And you're going to be thinking, man, Amy, this is so basic. But it's just a friendly reminder, because I think sometimes we miss or we forget about the reducing of the consumption. We forget that we don't have to buy the latest and greatest tech or the new Kohl's Cash to get the new t-shirt or the new sweater. Excuse me. The biggest impact we can have on the planet is to buy less stuff, therefore creating zero waste. It's that simple, okay? I'm not trying to hide or have any, it's not a secret code, it's a sustainability. Just buy less stuff, okay? Ask yourself these questions when you're going to buy a new item. How long will I use this item? Is this a fad? Is this something that I might just use for like an hour and then I'm going to discard it? Maybe I can find a way around purchasing that item. Do I really need this item, or am I motivated by the sale price? I think we sometimes get really excited about the deals. I know I'm a sucker for a good deal. And I think, oh, I could use that in my life because it's a good price. Ask yourself again, do I really need this? Will I use this in my life on a reoccurring basis, and will this hold up? If it's clothing can be made very cheaply. The price tag can be very cheap. Will I wear this at least 20 times? And put a number on it. Will I wear this item 20 times? Will it last 20 times through the wash, through the dryer, being hung up? If you can't answer yes to the question, if you're going to buy that item and you're going to wear it once and then you're going to donate it, maybe reconsider purchasing the item. It's really hard to determine how much of the clothing that we donate to thrift stores is actually being recirculated and is not instead being landfilled or sent overseas. So being really thoughtful about the consumption is my step number one. Just taking a second glance before you purchase a new item. My tip number two, reduce paper towel usage. Okay, it is hard. A lot of people are very addicted to paper towels. I have friends that have 3 different rolls of paper towels in their kitchen. That seems like a lot to me. 1 would probably suffice. But maybe you're really overwhelmed by the idea of getting rid of all paper towels. I get it. That's a big step. Maybe you start with using less paper towels. You start with buying the paper towels that have the perforated pieces that you can tear off to use less of them, so you're not using a full roll. Or maybe you tear them yourself and you tell your family, for dinner tonight, we're going to use half of a sheet instead of a full sheet. Just start with less and less consumption over time. And then maybe once you're ready, you can make the switch to incorporate some dinner cloth napkins at dinner time. Instead of giving out paper towels to the family, we're going to instead use reusable, washable, durable cloths for dinner time. We're going to wipe our hands on that, and we're going to put those in the washer when we're done with them. And we're going to use those over and over again. At my house, we keep our dishcloths, our little tea towels, dishcloths, whatever you want to call them, on the dining room table. So they're accessible. I don't have to worry about going and getting them when it's time to sit down. I can just grab them, put them out for dinner, and I'm done. And another great recommendation that I have found very useful in my household is called the Swedish dishcloth. They are equal to the equivalent of about 15 rolls of paper towels. They're highly absorbent. They air dry, they can be washed in your dishwasher, in your washing machine, and then at the end of their life cycle, they can be composted. So they're made out of plant material, cellulose, and cotton. They are really great for, you know, cleaning up the countertop, wiping down the dinner table afterwards. Now there's always a place for paper towels or a roll of paper towels in the house for like those dirty jobs that you just don't want a paper towel to, or excuse me, a reusable cloth to touch. But wiping our hands, wiping the counter, those things can be done with reusables. And then think of all that excess waste that you won't be generating, and you're going to see a cost savings from switching from a durable reusable cloth compared to 15 rolls of paper towels. Paper towels aren't cheap. Number 3, try your best to avoid food waste. This is a challenge for many, many households. Food waste, food waste is a problem across the globe. Here's some simple little tips to help you on your journey to avoid food waste. Making a list before the grocery store. That sounds so basic, but it really helps to target your goals with the shopping list. Avoiding impulse buys whenever possible, or if you're going to make impulse buys, making sure that those buys are shelf stable items, so things that will last, that will go in the pantry and won't spoil quickly. Storing your food properly. So I have the next slide is some tips on how to store your food properly. A lot of times certain vegetables and fruits shouldn't be placed in the fridge, and they should instead be left on the counter. SWACO has a food storage guide on our Save More Than Food website, which I'll share more about in the coming slides to give you some of those recommendations if you're not already familiar. And then again, organizing your fridge so the food that's about to expire is front and center. People in the household understand that this food, the milk, the produce, any of those, the yogurts, those are about to expire. Please eat me first. And then date labels. Date labels are so confusing. And it's really just a recommendation by the manufacturer. The only product that is required by federal law to have a date label technically is infant formula. Everything else is just a recommendation by the manufacturer. So why don't you instead try to use your smell, your sense of taste when it comes to product expiration dates, not just assuming that the best by or uses by or expires on, and that date means that it automatically goes in the trash can. So using your best judgment before you pitch that food. So some things that have worked well in my household to try to get my family members and myself, okay, I'm not perfect, to eat the food first that's about ready to go bad. We have a shelf or a corner, I should say, part of a corner in our fridge that is for the food that is going to expire. And this takes a little bit of organization of the fridge, but I try to put things, the leftovers from dinners, the avocado that's about ready to go bad, the soup that I know is not going to last much more than 24 hours. It's a good reminder for me as I'm in the morning, rushing out the door, getting to work, thinking about what I can easily grab for work that is about ready to go bad. That's one of the tips I recommend to avoid food waste. The freezer is your friend. Use your freezer to maximize all your leftovers. You're spending all this time making these delicious meals at home, and you make extra thinking I'm going to eat the extra for work or for dinners, and then you end up going out, or you end up going, your plans change and you can't end up eating those leftovers in the fridge. Put them in the freezer. The food's about ready to go bad. It maybe technically only has a couple more days of life in the fridge. It will stay fresh in the freezer. And then label it, put a date on it, and your hard work and all those efforts to make your favorite whatever it is, you can then reap those benefits, pull it out, and enjoy that food down the road. You don't have to have crazy containers. You can see the examples here. People are using Ziploc bags. We use mason jars. You can get you can get a lot of mason jars, and then they're reusable over and over. And we store a lot of our food in jars, a lot of our soups and such in jars, and then those are reusable too. We try to avoid the single-use Ziploc bags whenever possible, but again, do what fits your household. So related to food waste, SWACO developed the Save More Than Food awareness campaign. It's really a tool to help you on your journey to reduce food waste and to compost the food that you can't divert from the landfill. So, or the food that I should say that would be like the scraps, you know, like the banana peels and the avocado pits. You're not going to eat that stuff, right? So how can we compost that material? So this is a great resource, SaveMoreThanFood.org. It's got a quiz, it's got a social media kit. It really is to help you understand the issue of food waste. It's not just an issue here in Central Ohio. It is a nationwide global problem. 40% of all the food that's grown in our country is discarded through incineration or landfilling, and that's just unacceptable. All the energy and all the resources that went into growing the food, transporting the food, and getting the food on the shelf at the grocery store just for it to end up in our trash cans. I know we can do better than that. All right, so next up, we are now tip number 4. We are going to choose reuse 99% of the time. Okay, so you are, excuse me, looking for ways to switch from single use to reusables in any way you can, in a manner that's approachable for you. For you, that might look like a commitment to bring your reusable water bottle with you everywhere you go. So you can say no thank you to the single-use disposable water bottle. I know the water bottle can be recycled, but reusables are better for the environment. There's still an environmental footprint that comes with recycling. The environmental footprint is less with your reusable durable container. So use that reusable water. I keep one in my trunk, so that way if I forget mine, I have it. Okay, same thing with to-go containers. I keep a few of them in my trunk, so if I'm out to eat with friends, I can easily grab my to-goes. So if I have leftovers, I don't have to use the styrofoam or the to-go container that the restaurant has. This might look like using, switching out Ziplocs for silicone storage bags that are reusable and dishwasher safe. Maybe it looks like beeswax, using beeswax wraps instead of cling wrap. I'm going to move on to the next slide to show you some examples. So some of this stuff can be intimidating to get into, but again, you don't have to do all of it to make an impact. Choose what fits your lifestyle best. You may have already made that commitment to do the reusable coffee mug and the reusable water bottle and the reusable bags, and you're looking for the next step in your journey in sustainability. So you're interested in beeswax wraps instead of the Ziploc bags or instead of cellophane. There are stores that you can buy these from. A lot of like the refillery stores, like Rewash sells this. Goodland sells this in the Franklinton area. Silicone storage bags. These are dishwasher safe and freezer safe. Reusable, and so these can usually be bought like places like Target, Walmart. You can even get them on Amazon. And then you know, plastic, use what you have first. I'm gonna say that. Don't throw away your plastic takeout or your plastic Rubbermaid totes, your Rubbermaid plastic containers for your freezer foods. Don't throw those out. Use what you have first, okay? And then as your plastic starts to get stained, it develops an odor, maybe it's just cracking. When you do decide to make that switch or make an upgrade, think about getting glass containers. Glass containers they're not gonna absorb the smell of any food. They're more durable. They're not gonna easily scratch. There's also concerns about the health ramifications of microwaving plastic. The plastic leaching into our food, which isn't great for our health. So just making that switch to glass. Glass is going to last a lot longer than plastic as well. All right, number 5, refill what you can. All right, not every store has a refillery or a bulk purchasing, if you will. But if you happen to be in the Clintonville area or Westerville area, there is this great shop called Rewash. They do have everything from like laundry detergents to lotions to different waste reduction packaging, things like those sustainable dishcloths. They can help you on your journey to make some of those swaps. And so I encourage you to check them out. There's also a new refillery in Grove City. It's called Resin Refillery and Natural Market. And then some grocery stores, such as Whole Foods and Fresh Thyme, offer things like grains, nuts, and coffee in bulk. So you can take your own durable container to one of these refilleries, to Whole Foods, Fresh Thyme. They will tear the weight of your container first, so you're not paying for the weight of the container. You don't have to have a fancy container, okay? You can reuse the pickle jars, the salsa containers, okay? It doesn't have to be fancy. Being sustainable isn't about the new latest and greatest Stanley Cup, okay? That I saw the craze about those Stanley Cups. It's really about using what you have, making use of what you have, and just trying to consume less in the process. That's really all it's about. So if you're intimidated by that process, maybe go with a friend, and maybe two brains together are better than one. Troubleshoot with a friend, or ask somebody that works at the stores. They'll be happy to help you. There's a reason why they have those refilleries and bulk offerings, is because they want people to take advantage of them. All right, number 6, my recommendation, try to buy secondhand whenever possible. There's no way you're going to buy everything secondhand, but there is so much excess stuff on this planet. I mean, truly, I see perfectly good things put out on the curb all the time that are destined for the landfill. And I just think, what if they would have posted that on a free cycle page, or posted it on Marketplace for free? Someone probably would have come and picked it up and made use of it. You don't have to just discard things because it's the easiest option. So buying secondhand is also a great way to ensure that those materials get a second life and they don't end up in a landfill. Again, when we donate items that are maybe past repair and they can't be repurposed or reused, that's not good, because it's better to discard items that can't be reused by somebody else. But if you are at the thrift store, say you need a new sweater, and you're pretty open to like the style and the color or whatever, check out, Facebook Marketplace, check out garage sales, whatever it may be. You can find a lot of really good deals and some good options on those free trade groups, buy nothing groups, even places like Poshmark and Depop. They sell clothing, secondhand clothing that's of the really nice higher styles that I'm not familiar with. Think about attending a clothing swap. A Circular Thrift is a cool business based out of Bexley that that sponsors different clothing swaps. She usually organizes it based on a theme. So based on like maternity clothes or children clothing or sportswear. It costs a minimal amount to participate in a clothing swap, but then you ensure that those materials stay in cycle and you're supporting a circular economy. Did you know that Patagonia, REI, North Face all provide a gently used gear outlet? So you can check out those sites. If you're an outdoor enthusiast like myself, and your gear is getting old and you need to make that upgrade, I encourage you to check out those reuse outlets first. The items are very, very gently worn and they're a fraction of the price. I just got a pair of shoes from REI. They look absolutely brand new. They were $35. I mean, my wallet appreciates my desire to be more sustainable too. I cannot tell that they were worn by anybody else. They look brand new to me. And so checking out those reuse outlets, first before you make the commitment to purchase new. I would be a fool if I didn't mention recycling right. Okay, so I'm sure everyone on the call already recycles. Maybe you have doubts about what's happening to our recyclables. Maybe you've been hearing a lot of rumors that recycling isn't actually happening here in Franklin County. Well, I'm here to say that is a rumor and a myth. Recycling is alive and well here in our region. We have a very strong recycling economy in Ohio. 80% of everything we place in our recycling carts stays right here in Ohio, doesn't even leave our state. And so we're very fortunate to have Rumpke Waste and Recycling as the Central Ohio recycling processor. They are the ones that process the material, separate it, and then they find the end users that will turn it into something new. And a lot of those products, again, are staying here in our state. Let's quickly go through what's accepted. This applies to you if you have access to curbside recycling, or if you take your materials to a SWACO recycling drop-off location. Everything is accepted. Does not matter who your hauler is, okay? All paper and cardboard is included in the program. This even includes now paper-lined cups, paper coffee cups, paper fast food cups, as well as a paper ice cream carton. All plastic bottles, jugs, tubs, and cups. You'll see we don't go by the numbering system, and instead we go by the shape of the container. Is it a bottle or jug? Bottles and jugs, I think, are straightforward. Tubs are things like plastic tubs for cottage cheese, yogurt, sour cream, macaroni salad, hummus, salsa. Cups that you might get from a fast food restaurant, or a fast food place, a Starbucks, and or a gas station. All glass bottles and jars, all colors are accepted. Even the metal lid is also accepted. Keep the metal lid loose. Metal cans and metal cups are accepted. The aerosol tip, plastic tip should be removed before placing aerosols in your recycling. And then all carton containers, so everything from gable top to aseptic is accepted. And then make sure to keep all your recyclables loose. This is how Rumpke can ensure that your materials get processed and get a second life as a new product. So bags and film are a big no-no. You don't want to put those in the recycling bin, take them back to the grocery store. Batteries, propane tanks, and other flammables, those should go to SWACO's hazardous waste facility for recycling. Tanglers such as chains and wires get tangled up around the equipment, shut the machines down. And then plastic takeout food containers, clamshells, and styrofoam at this time are not accepted. Reason being, Rumpke doesn't have a buyer for them. So you'll see I did not say styrofoam was accepted, but there are some locations to take hard to recycle styrofoam. Hilliard has a 24/7 drop-off for styrofoam, as well as SWACO. We also offer a drop-off location for styrofoam. Both of these locations accept large blocks of styrofoam packaging. So say you're holding on to some styrofoam from the holidays, you get meal deliveries and the styrofoam coolers. We will take those, as well as Hilliard. What we don't want styrofoam peanuts, styrofoam egg cartons, styrofoam cups, and food packaging. That stuff is contaminated, difficult to process. So we're really accepting those larger pieces of styrofoam. Another great resource for hard to recycle materials, SWACO offers a convenience center off Jackson Pike. The city of Columbus recently opened a convenience center as well. It's off of Allen Creek Drive. Each location takes different materials, have slightly different hours. So depending on which one's closest to you, I encourage you to check hours of operation and the acceptable material list. Maybe you are cleaning out your house, or you're prepping for spring cleaning, and you have an old broken vacuum cleaner or a old CRT monitor, some holiday lights that have burnt out, and you need to figure out where to take those for recycling. I want you to check out our search tool. It can be found at recycleright.org. I'm going to pop out of this presentation. I'm going to pull up the website. Recycleright.org, this is the homepage. It's nice because you can type in what you're looking to recycle. So say you are looking to recycle a TV. Type in TV, hit search, and it's going to, well, it should pop up TVs. There we go. So you want to recycle your TV, find a location near you, click on the button, and then a map will pop up of all the locations that have TV recycling. Again, you always want to double check, call ahead, make sure that they're accepting that material. Hours of operation, I just always encourage folks to call ahead to understand the fees and understand if they're accepting that material. So that is a handy feature of the search tool. If you jump on the search tool site, you can see a list of all of our recycling drop-off locations. We have over 300 locations to take hard to recycle materials, everything from motor oil to books to plastic bags to tires. If you're on our website and you are having a hard time tracking down an outlet for your material, email us, call us. We're going to help point you in the right direction. All right, my tip number 8, start composting. Now, this is probably the more intimidating idea or tip that I have, but I don't want you to be intimidated, because there is a solution that fits every person and every lifestyle. It's not a one size fits all option. So you're really good at eating all your food, getting your leftovers, freezing your leftovers, reinventing the scraps that you have, but you're still going to have peelings and pits and rinds that you're not going to eat. And unfortunately, we don't really want to put that in the landfill, because when we do, it generates methane gas, which contributes to climate change. We do capture the gas at the SWACO landfill, but we would rather that material be turned into a beneficial resource through composting than turned into natural gas, which is what we do at the landfill. So a couple options here. If you have a backyard and you're interested in starting your journey with backyard composting, think about purchasing a backyard composting unit. They make tumblers, they make on the ground systems. It doesn't have to be sophisticated. You can make your own even. And there is a program through Franklin Soil and Water Conservation District that does provide rebates towards the cost of purchasing a compost unit. That program will open in April if you're interested in learning more about that. There also are this new technology out there that through Lomi as well as Vitamix that makes countertop composting units. Okay, now these can be expensive upfront. These can range between $300 and $500 for the investment of the technology, but it's a one-time purchase. And so if you are, you're in an apartment, you're in a condo, don't have an interest in backyard composting, you don't want to drive your compost somewhere, you don't want to pay for the service, you just want to take care of it on your own terms. Think of it like the microwave for food waste. Microwaves were really expensive when they first came out, and then they got more and more affordable as the technology increased and became more in demand from consumers. I think we're going to see a countertop compost unit become the microwave eventually. So look into that. It pretty much just grinds and dehydrates your food, and then you can place it as like mulch or something outside. It doesn't turn it into finished processed compost, but it still is better than throwing it in your landfill bin. You could pay for a service to pick up your compost at your curb. Compost Exchange is the main service provider for that sort of service. They charge a monthly fee, somewhere between, depending, on your neighborhood and depending if you end up partnering with other neighborhoods, somewhere between $15 and $20 a month is about the average for that service. So I think that's pretty affordable, but again, that may not fit the bill for you. You maybe like the free option, okay? Who doesn't like free? There are a number of community drop-off programs. We have 12 communities, in fact, that do provide a food waste drop-off program. So if you happen to live in one of these communities listed on the map here, I encourage you to check in with the local service department to see how you can join the food waste drop-off program. Some of the programs are at capacity, some have room for more. Most people, what they do is they take their food waste to the drop-off about once a week. You don't have to, you can collect it in a bucket, you can collect it in an old Rubbermaid tote, whatever you want to collect your food waste in to take it to that drop-off. And then that material goes to a commercial compost facility, and they will process it and turn it into compost. So I hope there is an option. I provided you with an option that fits your needs and your lifestyle. And again, this isn't going to be the same size fits all. All right, number 9, fix your stuff if you can. I know that probably sounds so, again, basic, but it's difficult. Not all of us are mechanically inclined. We don't all have the ability the time or interest to fix our stuff. But if you do, or you know someone in your household that does, there's this great resource out there called the iFixit.com. It is a guide with over 400 entries of how to fix different materials. So everything from like vacuum cleaners to clothing to furniture. There are videos, there are repair guides, and there's also educational materials on why it's worth to fix your stuff in the first place. Unfortunately, things just aren't made like they used to be. They're not as durable. They're almost made to break, and that's unfortunate. But if you're willing to take that extra step to fix things, oftentimes it's just a small little repair that needs to be done to get a little bit more life out of your item. You're not mechanically inclined. You're not interested in fixing your stuff. I get it. It's not for everybody. Keep your eyes peeled for upcoming repair cafes. So the next repair cafe that I'm aware of is going to be hosted by Sustainable Westerville in conjunction with the Otterbein University on April 20th from 9 to noon at the Point at Otterbein University. They will be repairing everything from bicycles to clothes to vacuum cleaners to blenders, record players, you name it, bring it in. Okay, if you've got something that you really want to keep, you want to see it refurbished and repaired, bring it in. Some other partners that often do repair cafes, the Worthington Library sponsors those periodically, usually in the spring and the fall, as well as Green Columbus sponsors repair cafes. So if you don't already follow these organizations on social media, I encourage you to, so you can stay in the loop with upcoming repair cafes. And my final idea tip to you, number 10. Share what you've learned about sustainability and why sustainability waste diversion matters to you. We started this call with there's no such place as away. I can't stress that enough. Away may be away for your home, away from your community, but the away is somewhere else in our county, in someone else's community, in someone else's backyard. We do provide tours of our landfill, public tours, school tours, business tours. We want everyone to see the impacts that landfilling materials has. You really can't understand it until you see it with your own eyes, okay? The sheer volume of the material that is being buried that doesn't have to be buried. It has value, it has potential to be recycled, reused, or composted. And so come and see it for yourself. So you don't have to just hear, believe me in what I'm saying. So what are some things that we can do to share our learnings with others? talk to your friends and family. They maybe haven't decided to take the leap, or maybe they're hesitant to, because they think they have to be zero waste to make an impact. Remind them that it is progress, not perfection, and tell them why sustainability matters to you. What about talking to leadership at your work, making the switch from single use to reusables? Maybe your work has a dishwasher and they've stopped using it and they've switched over to styrofoam cups and plastic cutlery. And you instead are like, hey, I will help find some reusables. I'll bring them in from the thrift store. You know, it's a $10, $15 commitment maybe. And we're going to use our dishwasher and get away from these disposable materials that often are not recyclable. If you do live in an apartment or condo and you're frustrated by the lack of access that you have to recycling, why don't you talk to your property manager and explain to them that there are other apartments and other condos out there in our community that have recycling, and you want to know what you can do to help add recycling as an amenity. And guess what? SWACO staff are here to help. So if you're one of those people that is frustrated by the lack of access to recycling, reach out to us. We'll try to have a conversation with your property manager, learn a little bit more about your situation, and see what we can do to help you on your journey to add recycling. Talk to your favorite restaurants and carry-out places about switching to a more sustainable to-go packaging. Okay, so think about if they're using styrofoam, ask them if there's a way that they could switch to maybe a durable plastic container that could at least be reused, or even better, a compostable or paper style container that could be recycled or composted. Just opening their eyes to the idea. Maybe they've never thought about it, right? Maybe you're the first person to bring this to light. You tell them why sustainability matters to you. We don't have an infinite amount of natural resources on the planet, and you want to do your part to conserve resources for future generations. It's a simple conversation, no pressure, just opening their eyes to the options out there. And then finally, vote with your dollar. Well, we can't really vote with our dollar, but building a green economy is really about being more informed and using our dollar to support those companies that have green practices, that are growing our local economies, and that do pay fair wages to employees. So I know this is easier said than done, okay? We like the convenience of Amazon. We like the convenience of the big box stores, but doing our best to support those local businesses here in our community that have prioritized recycling, prioritizing sustainable practices, and paying those fair wages. That's what's going to help secure a healthier planet. And if we are choosing to use our dollars to invest in those businesses, that makes it so these other corporations and these big box stores are pressured to be better and have greener practices. All right, those are my 10 recommendations. I could go on and on, but we only have an hour, and I want to make sure that we have time for everybody's questions today. So anybody have anything that they're sitting with that they are wondering what they can do to have a more sustainable future, a more sustainable lifestyle, I should say? Seeing no questions coming in, I don't want to keep people here. I hope this information wasn't too overwhelming, and you feel like there are a couple things that you could approach to be more sustainable. Again, progress, not perfection. You don't have to do it all to have an impact on the planet. And really, this content was related to waste diversion, waste reduction. There's a lot of other things that you can do to be eco-friendly. You could cut out meat, or you could try to cut the amount of meat that you eat in a week, choosing those veggie alternatives. You could try to use public transit or walk more. You could choose to take the bus on a vacation instead of flying somewhere. That's a hard one because when I'm on vacation, I want to go somewhere really cool that I don't want to be on a bus for. Take the train. That's even more environmentally friendly than an airplane. So lots of things that you can do, and maybe you do all those already and you're looking for some waste reduction practices to implement. Emily asked a question about recycling. Did I hear correctly that in Ohio, we do not focus on the numbers? That is a good question. And I'm not sure that I addressed the numbering system, but let me go back. So I wish recycling was a overarching universal method. We could all just place the same materials in the bin from community to state to even different countries. But unfortunately, that's just not how recycling works. So it's based on the end users and the markets that are available to the regions. And while we do have a very strong recycling economy here in Ohio, we cannot recycle all plastic numbers, okay? So really, we're focused here in Franklin County. What we recycle here in Franklin County is going to be different than what you can recycle in Monroe or in Delaware, in Hamilton, and so forth. So I'm really speaking to the materials, the plastic materials accepted in Franklin County. And you're right, we don't go by the numbering system. Instead, we're really focused on the shape. Is it a bottle or a jug? I think you got that one down, Emily, right? It's a milk jug, it's a detergent jug, it's a water bottle. Tubs you get from the deli or the dairy section. Cottage cheese, yogurt, sour cream, mac salad, hummus, salsa. Cups, a cup that you would get from a gas station, favorite coffee shop, a fast food restaurant. The one style cup Rumpke doesn't want is a solo party style cup. And that's because Rumpke doesn't have a buyer for that type of plastic right now. Now they understand when they go by the numbering system, or when they don't go by the numbering system, that they're going to get materials that don't belong in the stream because they're choosing to go by the shape. So you're going to do the best you can, because recycling is not, it's confusing. It can be challenging to remember all the rules. I'm not going to pretend it's not. So you're going to do the best you can to remember what goes in the recycling bin. And if you need a refresher, SWACO has a number of webinars available on our YouTube channel. It's usually me giving the spiel. We provide monthly webinars on how to recycle right. The next one will be on February 27th, I believe. If you're ever interested in learning more about waste diversion, the new up and coming changes to the recycling program, you can always check out one of our webinars. You can also subscribe to our newsletter. Looks like the webinar is going to be, it's not posted yet, but it's going to be on the 28th. So I'll make sure to get that posted later today to make sure that those folks who are interested in joining can get signed up. All right. I'm seeing some comments coming in that this information was helpful. And I'm making it seem less intimidating. I hope that's the case. That's why I'm here. Again, I don't want you to feel overwhelmed by all this content, that you have to do all of it. And if you don't do all of it, there's no point in just, trying to implement a couple things. For example, when I started my sustainability journey about 10 years ago, I just started with using a reusable water bottle. You can literally start there, and just trying to cut out using the cups and the plastic water bottles when you go places. Keep an extra one in your car so that way you always have it. I mean, if you think about it, when we leave the house, we always leave the house with our cell phone, with our car keys. Why can't we also leave the house with our reusable water bottles and our reusable grocery store bags, or put them in our car so we always have access to them. Put them in a backpack, put them in whatever works for you in your lifestyle. Just trying to make sure that you have an extra one so that way it's always handy. All right, well, I want to thank everyone for their time today. Email me if you have further questions. My email is in your registration email that you used to join today's call. Call the front desk if you ever have questions about where to take hard to recycle materials. We are here as a resource to you. I want to thank everyone for their time today and have a great rest of your Wednesday. Bye-bye.